Are you ready to rock out with Julie and the Phantoms? Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Pop Culture Planet. I'm your host, Kristen Maldonado, and today we are chatting with Madison Reyes of Julie and the Phantoms. We talk about her career working with Kenny Ortega and what it's like being a Latina who rocks. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Thank you so much, Madison, for joining me. I just gotta say, I loved Julie and the Phantoms so much. It was so awesome seeing a Latina who rocks. And so I was just curious, what is your relationship with your heritage like?
Me and my family are very proud of our heritage. You can see the flag. We're constantly putting our flag out during the summer. My dad has it tattooed on him. I'm still trying to get a little more into it. I definitely want to learn more, about like our roots, like where it all started. But I love it. I mean, the music to the food to just like who we stand for. I feel that we're just so beautiful in everything that we do, and it's our culture. I've been to Puerto Rico twice.
Oh, wow.
Once when I was younger, and once I think maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, when I could actually just appreciate the beauty that is in our home. And I constantly think about it. I mean, we're so strong, especially after the hurricane and stuff like that. Just how we kind of just powered through it and just kind of stay strong with each other. And especially as diversity starts to go out in we start to see more representation of us. To be able to be a part of that kind of line now, where I get to kind of like be a voice for us is amazing. And hearing all the young, girls out there who are reaching out to me on Instagram is so emotional because I know that feeling of having that lack of not being able to see somebody that looks like you to look up to. And that's what drove me to kind of just take this role so seriously and just go for it in the beginning, just to know that if I did get casted, that I could be that role model for so many young girls who are just like me, kind of looking for that person to just kind of latch on to and, achieve their dreams kind of after seeing that I could achieve mine.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. You're just like so inspiring, so put together. You mentioned like wanting to kind of be that person that other young Latin women could look up to. Do you remember the first time you saw a Hispanic character on screen or a story on screen and how that kind of impacted you?
I think the biggest story and the person that kind of is always in the back of my head is just, Selena. Her story is, one that I remember watching that documentary that was done by Jennifer Lopez of her story, and just like sitting in this classroom with all like, kind of just being the only Latin girl in there, and just kind of feeling this, sinking feeling that she's still motivating people to this day. And the fact that her legacy has lived on for so long, even after her death, is so amazing. And I constantly just think about how I wish I could thank her for so many people that she's, inspired to kind of get into that industry of music. And just her songs as well, I feel like when I listen to her music that she's kind of just like in the room performing as well. She's definitely, also just with how she didn't know Spanish that much when she was growing up, and yet she had this amazing career with the Spanish community, and how I can also do that as well, even with the little bit of Spanish that I can understand and can speak. So I just kind of like go off of that. I just wish so badly that I could just be like, thank you, because like seeing your story is one of the things that has motivated me to kind of just be that kind of performer, and the way that she performs her music and kind of tell the story with each performance.
Now you mentioned the speaking Spanish. Do you speak Spanish?
No.
Girl, I feel
I
you.
know.
Same.
So hard. I'm just like, because it's such a beautiful language. I mean, like watching my mom and her mom kind of conversate, and just how you can't understand it, and they could be talking about like the weirdest thing ever, but it just sounds so like pretty. I don't know if that like if you get what I'm saying, but
Yeah.
like I would love to just be able to have that like conversation that no one else could understand but me and my family,
Yeah. Do you ever feel that kind of like pressure of like I know for me, sometimes people are like, you don't speak Spanish? What? I'm like,
Yes,
I try.
that was my biggest fear, especially like, I've always tried, as I gotten older, just to kind of like appreciate it more. That's kind of my way to try to like just to get a grasp on the language. There are certain like when it comes to like learning the grammar and stuff, like I can pick up on it, like I get that. But when it comes to actually having to like speak it, I just get a little nervous and I just completely forget it. So it's hard for me to actually get to stick. But I just wish like I could, because I know how helpful it would be and how much more important it would kind of be. But I just try to be as best as I can without it, and make you guys proud as well, and just kind of hope that you guys understand.
No, I hear you. I'm in the same boat. Now I'm curious. You mentioned Selena as an inspiration. Where did your love of like performing come from? Did you always kind of grow up wanting to act and sing, or did anything like particularly happen where you were like, oh, this is kind of this is where I want to be?
I've always really been into like dancing and singing. There's probably a video of me out there at my second grade talent show playing a guitar that I did not know how to play, singing on a stage with like 3 of my friends who were my backup dancers. But it was so much fun. I remember watching High School Musical as well, and just kind of being like, wow, I want to do what Vanessa's doing and be an actress and be a performer, dance around the school. But it wasn't really until I moved out here from Brooklyn to Allentown that I found out about musical theater, and I found out that like art schools were a real thing. And I actually took that acting and singing career that I wanted to do kind of seriously. And I always just pushed myself to kind of just get my hands on whatever I could, whether it was school choir or church choir or, school after school programs that involved any kind of singing or dancing. And those school plays as well. And then after I got into 7th grade, and I got casted as Princess Jasmine, I realized that I really liked that kind of interaction that you can have with the audience. I remember this little girl, she kind of was like, oh my God, her mom was like, you're her favorite princess and she would love to take a picture with you. And I was like, wow, like that's crazy. Like I'm just, a 7th grader, but sure. And then I auditioned for an art school out here, Arts Academy, and I instantly loved it. I mean, it wasn't until my freshman year that I really started to question it for a second, because I had been auditioning for all these things in my school, but I wasn't just fitting the cast type as a Latin girl. So I was like, well, like there aren't that many roles that I see out there that will be looking for this young Latin girl to kind of be a role in. And I was I didn't really like the whole play aspect. I always wanted to do film acting. And then I found out about Julie and the Phantoms when I was going to have that last minute of doubt and actually change my art form to vocal. So everything just kind of happened at the right time. I was definitely, in that shift where I was going to be like, well, let me just give up acting and just try and get into, performing and being a singer, because I was picking up the piano at the time. But, with this role, I get to do everything that I kind of always wanted to do, be an actress, perform, and be in a crazy, incredible band with, these crazy, incredible, talented guys.
That is amazing. Now, what was that experience like auditioning for Julie and the Phantoms?
I definitely thought that it was going to be, a little more nerve-wracking when I was going out to LA. I mean, doing that at-home shoot, self-tape and stuff, you're by yourself. So, I didn't really have to be too nervous about anything, just kind of wanted to perfect, my audition tapes and things like that. But when I was going out to LA, those nerves started to come and the anxiety. But once Kenny introduced himself to me and kind of gave me this, like, warm welcoming, especially also the Netflix execs, and he reassured me that I didn't have to be nervous and that this was a safe place. And, he just wanted me to be myself, that, all those nerves and anxiety just went away. And I was just on fire for the whole audition process. And it wasn't until after I got back home that they actually hit me. And it was crazy. I kind of had to get myself mentally prepared for going home, because, it was my first time ever. And the manager that I had, he had said that it was going to take, 10 days until you find out if you got casted. But I was told right then and there. So I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is insane that I get to, be casted with these guys that I, felt an instant connection with and I wanted to get casted with. And now we get to have this experience of being a band and being told together in the same room at the same time kind of made it all feel real as well.
Yeah, you are our band.
I did it, Mama!
Julie and the Phantoms. Here we go.
Wow. And so, I mean, like you said, Kenny Ortega welcomed you in with open arms. What was that like, meeting him and working with him? And did he give you any advice that you kind of plan to take with you in the future? Because, I mean, that's a pretty iconic guy. He's worked on so many huge projects.
Yes. I mean, you know, Kenny, he's just so humble and kind and has the biggest heart. You know, I think the biggest thing that I took away from him was just, you know, we realized, all four of us, and also the rest of the cast as well, but because the four of us spent the most time with him, that, you know, it got to a point where we weren't just pushing ourselves to be the best us for ourselves anymore. We were pushing ourselves for him, because we knew how much he cared about us and how much he cared about this show and how much he just cared about everything that he did. And seeing that passion that he kind of had for every little thing that he did, and the way that he always stayed positive through our whole experience and kind of always kept our energy up, that we had to keep on doing it for him, you know, even on those days when we was tired and we were pushing ourselves for, like, you know, so long weeks without any breaks. We just kept on thinking back to Kenny and how much he had done for us, especially at the beginning of the process, when he was just like, you know, I'm not just your boss, and you're not just my workers, you know, we're partners. This is a team effort. And, you know, whatever you have to say is just as important as what I have to say as a director. And kind of hearing that, especially with the expectations that were fed into my mind through art school, that, you know, directors were going to be a certain way and that you have to be this certain way. And when you're, you know, at the callbacks, all of that kind of just went down the drain, and he broke those, you know, expectations. And I was so shocked. But, you know, I'm very grateful that we all connected so great. You know, they're my second family, and I adore Kenny so much. You know, hearing his stories of, you know, the projects that he's worked on through the years, and how much he just cares about everybody that he's worked with and every single project, and how passionate and important to detail everything gets, was just like, oh, he really does know what he's doing.
Absolutely. That sounds like an amazing experience. And now I'm curious, like, going into the role of Julie, you know, what I really liked when I was watching the show was that she's like, you know, has her own unique style. You know, she's in this rock band. You don't always see like a Latina leading a rock band. Like, how cool is that? You had such a strong family in the series as well, and really strong friendships. And your character is so grounded. And I was wondering, what was that kind of like for you, kind of building that role?
Something that was definitely established between me and Kenny was that we didn't want Julie to be a person who was just acted. Like, he didn't want the actress to just act her. You know, when I think about the whole experience, you know, I don't think that I was ever acting one bit. You know, Julie was just so me, and just such, you know, an everyday person who was just, you know, hanging out with three ghosts, that, you know, she is just her. You know, she's unique. But the cool thing is, though she has this kind of weird thing going on in her life with these ghosts, like you said, she's grounded. You know, it's not like all of a sudden she has this magical aspect going on in her life, this kind of fantasy, and she just doesn't feel anymore, and she doesn't have to go through certain things. No, she still has to go through certain challenges and face certain things and kind of just live through everything. And that's what was so amazing about reading the first script for me when I first got handed to me, was just that, you know, she is going to have to go through these things and grow, and kind of being able to experience that with her as myself was what was so amazing. Just thinking about it in a different perspective, you know, being able to see a character that is just so like, she could be in the real world. You know, she can be her own person, and know that that's me, and still see myself is really great. I mean, you get to relate with a character who's relatable, you know, who's going through certain things that people go through in real life. And she doesn't get lost in that world either. It's not like she completely forgets about her friends and her family and all those people who care about her just because she has this cool thing going on for her. She still kind of tries to keep it all at one, so she can still experience this cool, you know, part of being in this awesome band, and being in the band with these guys who are helping her through this tough time.
We were brought together for a reason, to help each other.
But also still be with her family that she adores and loves so much, and her best friend Flynn.
Yeah, you can really see in the show how you guys really became a family.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful to see. So what was it like working with your band? You know, you guys had such great chemistry. One of my favorite scenes was definitely when you guys performed in front of the garage with the whole white butterfly outfit.
Yeah.
So much chemistry, so much vibes going on. I loved it.
One thing I constantly think about is how Kenny was so good at casting us. I mean, you can just tell that we are so like our characters. It's insane. I mean, just like looking at the guys and their roles, it's like I don't see Alex and Reggie and Luke. You know, I see Charlie, Jeremy, and Owen. And though there are certain things and aspects that the guys as characters are different from the actual guys, you know, it still fits them so perfectly. So when it came to us being that band and those performances, you know, it was just us becoming Julie and the Phantoms. You know, we're Julie and the Phantoms. We come alive whenever the music starts playing. The adrenaline kicks in when Owen starts playing on the drums behind me, and I have, you know, Jeremy and Charlie just strutting it on the bass and guitar right next to me. You know, we just feed off of each other's energy, but it's not like we're just, you know, taking too much. It's all equal. And that's one of the things that I just love about us the most, is that we let the music just really take us over, and we just forget about all the stress that might be going on set, and all the takes that we're gonna have to take. You know, it was never tiring. You know, you'd think that it would be, especially when you constantly have to sing the same song like 10 different times for each different angle. But when you have, you know, the four of us in a room and we're all just, you know, vibing off of each other, there's no way to get tired of it.
These songs are like incredible. Like there is no song that's not good. Every single song is a bop. So which ones were some of your favorites to perform?
Ooh, Bright is definitely like I think my top favorite band song to perform, only because, you know, that's the song that we sing in the auditions. And that's the song that I kind of always reflect on as we got closer and closer to, you know, recording it and then actually filming it and performing it in front of like a live crowd. You know, for the longest it was just the four of us and Kenny and my dad and the writers and, you know, the ADs, and then eventually we recorded it and we finally got to hear it all together with our vocals on it. And then we got to really just see the fans' reactions, or, you know, the BGs, the extras reactions, which they are fans now, but kind of just seeing them and how, you know, it got them kind of hyped and how they fed off of our energy, and really enjoyed the music, really gave us some hope that, you know, the show was going to do well and that everybody else was going to love our music. Which they did, which is incredible. And I'm so very grateful, you know, even for the, you know, original Brazilian fans as well. You know, we constantly kept them in our minds, and also the original cast, and how we just wanted to do the show great, and, you know, we wanted to bring something that people already loved back, and just give a new little, you know, spark to it. Just, you know, give it, you know, a life where it could, you know, shine again all over again. So it's definitely been a fun experience, and I really hope that we get to do it again.
Absolutely. I hope so as well. I'm crossing my fingers. You know, this has been an incredible opportunity for you. What do you hope that other people take away from the show? What do you hope that other Hispanic, you know, people take away from this show that are kind of growing up, maybe watching you in this role?
I've heard a lot of, like, you know, negative stuff and no's in my life. But a lot of all those no's just led up to this one big yes. I think the biggest thing that I just kind of want them to take from me, at least personally, is just, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, what others have to say. You know, don't let their hateful words about who you are and, you know, where you come from, you know, distract you from your main goal. Because once you let them win, you know, then there's really no point in it, I guess. So the best thing about getting this role is that I constantly was pushing myself no matter how negative it got. And it's the payoff of knowing that you proved all those people who were saying that you weren't going to do it wrong, you know? And the thing that I want people to take from the show is just the music. you know, and how it brings people together and how it helps people through certain situations, and how you can listen to music when you're sad, but you can also listen to music when you want to jam out and have a good time. And also just finding who you are, and not to be afraid to kind of feel, you know. It took Julie a year to kind of just finally get over her mom's passing, but not necessarily get over it, but find new light, you know, find the positive outcome of that, and how she can continue to go on and find her destiny and follow her fate.
That is so inspiring. I'm curious now that the show is out. What are some other dreams that you hope to achieve kind of in the entertainment industry?
Well, definitely staying on the topic of Julie and the Phantoms, we would love to go on tour. We would love to go on tour.
That would be amazing.
Our like biggest goal right now is just to go on tour and to be able to interact with the fans and just kind of like rock out and just like travel the world with our music.
Yes, yes. I am definitely gonna go get a ticket to that. Is there anything else you want to share, or if you want to let people know where they can find you?
You can find me on Instagram at the Madison Reyes. And you can go watch Julie and the Phantoms, which is now streaming on Netflix. And if you want to see some behind the scenes and cool little pictures, you can go follow Julie and the Phantoms on Instagram as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Madison. This was such a great conversation. And I truly love the show so much. You know, I literally watched it in 3.5 hours one night, got through the whole thing, and I was like, this is probably my favorite new show of 2020. For real. You know, I thought it was really well done. The music is beautiful. Your voice is incredible. So congratulations on everything.
Thanks so much for talking to me today. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. And
thank you.
Until next time.
Thank you so much to Madison Reyes for joining me. I literally love Julie and the Phantoms, so this was such an honor. If you guys like this one, you can check out more Pop Culture Planet right over here. See ya.